Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations. Today we're talking about veterans in the fire service and what it's like to transition into the fire service from a military branch. We're going to start with you. If you could introduce yourself by including your name, your department, your years of service, and then we'll go into some deeper questions.
My name is Rico Stanley. I work for Rancho Cucamonga Fire Protection District. I've been there just under 2 years. Prior to that, I have 7 years of military service with the United States Coast Guard. My time there in operations, I was in drug interdiction, migrant interdiction, and then some search and rescue. Found myself to the fire service after that, after a transition into the private sector. And right now I've been on the force now for, like I said, under 2 years.
Well, congrats on finishing probation.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome. So can you just walk us through your journey of getting into the military and eventually, how that transitioned into the fire service? And feel free to start from the very beginning.
Thank you, Lasana. So yeah, very beginning, I would say that like 1%er in you to want to serve was in me. I come from a family of public servants. So my mom's a social worker. My grandfather is a coach and a teacher. And then I have an uncle who was a retired captain for Santa Monica Fire Department. So I knew from a very young age that's just the track I was going on, whether it be in law enforcement or in fire service. Found myself to the Coast Guard after completing my bachelor's degree at Cal State Long Beach. I was kind of in between jobs. I was working as a valet supervisor, and then I was working as a Parks and Recs coordinator. Very great jobs, fulfilling, but I needed something that was going to push me over. I was getting older and just looking for something a little bit more stable. And I was getting up there in age, so I was 26. I was like, you know what, I'm going to join. So I ended up joining. I had a family friend that was already in the Coast Guard and was able to get exposure prior to even taking the ASVAB, getting to go on base, getting to see the units and things like that. And that just affirmed my decision to make that jump. And I joined in 2014. I was in operations as a seaman, the United States Coast Guard Cutter Alert up in Astoria, Oregon. And that was a blast. You come in with the crew, there's a bunch of young guys in there that are all junior in membership, and you get in and you're introduced to that structure, that rank structure. I remember having to shine my boots and press my uniform and not realizing how that would pay forward moving into the fire service. Like just getting ready to come here to have this conversation with you last night, I took my boots out, went to my front yard and put a black shine on them and everything and made sure I was pressed. And I was thinking this is cool how it comes full circle. Having those just instilled in you to want to carry that out. I didn't have to come here and shine my boots, but I knew let me show out. That's how I found my way into the military. Again, family friend exposed me to it and loved every second of it. After my time in operation, I decided to go landside and support. Went to Yeoman A School in Petaluma, California, just up the way, and studied there for everything personnel, so awards, pay, entitlements. And then once I got stationed there, they totally 180 me and they put me in transportation. So everything I went to school for, I did the complete opposite. And I think that's something too that you can really take into the fire service is what we have set out, planned for the day. We're gonna come in, train, and this is our plan of the day, completely get thrown off the script, and you gotta be able to adapt and overcome and keep a positive attitude and roll with it.
So you tested for the military and then got certain jobs or skills that you would go into. You went to school for that, and then as soon as you were done, all of that was changed?
All that was changed, yeah, because there was a need at the base I was going to. The transportation coordinator had just up and quit, and that was an important billet because we serviced all 5 branches. So I wasn't just exclusive to the Coast Guard. I was able to get in contact and reach out to all 5 services. And I think for me, that was huge. It played to who I am, your skill sets and your traits, and then opportunity finding you at the right time, right place. So I got to go be a transportation coordinator. And I love talking to people. I love networking. I love having these type of candid, genuine conversations. And you get to meet people that, hey, they're moving their families, they're moving their stuff, they're stressed out. Hey, how can I alleviate that stress? Come talk to you in those moments and then figure out what you need and the best way to get it done. So for me, it wasn't work. It was actually kind of fun. And a few months in, I was able to go back and do what I was trained to do. So I was doing both. But I felt that immediate need once I reported into base Los Angeles.
Can you talk about and we've known each other for a bit, but can you talk about your journey into the fire service and just kind of what that looked like and how you landed in military outreach?
My name's Tim White. I'm a captain with Metro Fire. I've been employed with Metro for about 20 years. Part Part of my assignments is to work in recruitment and workforce development, and that finds me integrating with resources for veterans or fielding phone calls for veterans that are looking for how to find their way, a pathway, if you will. They know where they want to be and they know where they are. They just want some help connecting the dots in the middle. And that finds me integrating with the United States Army recruiters and local branches of the military to find out what is available for them. Metro Fire is also proud Army Pays partners, partnering in your success, and I manage that program for Metro Fire. No, like I said, I consider myself one of the lucky ones. I didn't come up with this on my own. I was expecting our first child, and a family friend said, "Hey, you should be a firefighter," and that bounced off of me like I think it usually bounces off of folks. And I think my line was something along the lines of, when I saw Top Gun, I wanted to be a fighter pilot, but that's what little kids want to do, and I've got bills to pay. That turned into guidance and mentoring, establishing a pathway. It was the recipe was what was given to me was very simple. I needed to go figure out what paramedic school was and how to get there. Went on a ride along, and I guess the rest is history. I got lucky. When I was looking towards employment, I started looking at where I wanted to be a firefighter. Started doing some homework. That's what I take from a past life in the trades. Is I knew that I had learned there that where I worked mattered or was going to matter for my family. I was getting into this industry for what it was going to provide to my family, the stability, all of the things that Rico had mentioned that he was looking for, consistency. When you work in the trades, when it rains outside in January and February, money gets tight, and so I was moving past that. Got lucky, landed at a place that I'm proud to call home, Metro Fire. I think that perspective, that lens, makes me an honest recruiter. So as Metro Fire's recruiter, I started looking for resources. Where are our partners? Where are people coming from? I was fielding questions from veterans that are like, "Hey, how do I get to where you're at? This is where I'm at. How do I get there?" So going and looking for resources, found out that we were Army Pays partners. That's a program that the Army provides to newly enlisted, where a newly enlisted soldier can sign up with up to 5 entities, and basically you get promised an interview when you're eligible to be hired and if you're qualified for the position. Met some recruiters. Learned about the fact that all of the branches of the military are sending people to EMT school and paramedic school at multiple locations. Fort Sam in Austin, Texas is a place where all of the branches will send some folks. There's other opportunities. I've learned that what people do in that, let's face it, the United States military is one of the greatest workforce development platforms on the planet. A lot goes in to meet their need. Well, folks are often moving through that and moving on to something. So it's been a privilege of mine to be able to help folks navigate that from someone that isn't their recruiter, that's talking to them and saying, yeah, that's good advice. That's where you can go get your EMT or your paramedic and come back and see us. That's been my experience so far with that. And it's been good. It's a good partnership. The other thing I'd like to reconnect on that Rico was talking about, that draw to serve. It's the same person, that human element isn't everywhere. So people that are drawn to serve are drawn to serve. So it's a very good connection, right? So Metro Fire is moving into a space where we want to interview any veteran that is qualified for a position. We're changing some policies to make sure we try and capture that, because we do see the value that comes with service. You have served, you're a servant. This is another way that you can serve your community. And there is some connective tissue there for sure.
So you meet candidates that are in the military and trying to become firefighters. What are some of the things you advise them to do?
So when the military conversation comes up as a workforce development platform for an individual, it's sometimes a high school student that maybe college isn't in their future, or they don't think that it is, or maybe they've decided they want to do military service, which is a good thing. It's just giving them advice. I had told you before, I don't even like that word advice. It's who am I to give a stranger advice? It's information. It's information that I found and I find pertinent, and just getting them to the right people. Entry to the fire service, or a barrier to the fire service, is qualifications. Getting that EMT certification, or if an agency wants a fire academy, or if another agency is looking for a paramedic license, getting them to those qualifications is the first step. You can't interview without those qualifications. So just giving them that information. Sometimes that's news. Sometimes an individual, if they're working on leaving the military service, they're looking for something that it says fire on it. Fire science at a community college. Fire this, fire that. Encouraging people that a qualification or a base qualification that we're really looking for is that medical component, EMT or paramedic. But that's not everywhere. That's, Metro Fire specifically, we have an in-service fire academy. Everybody that gets hired we're going to handle preparing them to be professional firefighters, the professional firefighters that we need. Another thing is trying to figure out where they are, what they have available to them, what are their resources, do they have their GI Bill, is there a counselor that I can connect them to or locally, that they are at a school like ARC, or if they're going to go to Sac State or any of these programs, maybe guide them into that direction. Someone that will help them navigate their benefits, their GI benefits, and how they're going to go and pay for those qualifications, stuff like that. But there really is an opportunity in their service because that training is available. Sometimes folks just don't know what to look for.